What's up, guys? Ray here. I want to riff a little bit today in this video. There won't be much. It's not really scripted. This isn't really mega produced. It's just kind of me just talking from the heart here. And I want to talk about a very important moment in my life. A moment that kind of spawned all of this, right? As a kid, I didn't grow up in the most comfortable life. I grew up in a lot of ghettos, actually. Very, very poor. Didn't really have much out there. But what I did have was a hand me down NES, Nintendo. And the very first game I ever played, ever in my life, was a game that came with that Nintendo, which was Ninja Gaiden. I can't even begin to explain how impactful that game was for me. Just to give you kind of an example, I 100% attribute my early gaming days as the reasons why I really didn't succumb to the craziness of living in the areas that I lived in, right? Gangbangers, drug dealers, all kinds of things. People have died, shit like that. But I never really went down that path. I never became any kind of gang affiliated person. I never did any kind of hardcore drugs. I don't have any kind of arrest record or anything. I made it out of that pretty intact, and I attribute a lot of that to my infatuation with gaming, and honestly, my infatuation with Ninja Gaiden. As a kid, I still remember to this day spending days on that game. I so clearly remember the music, the intro, the cutscenes, the fighting, the bosses, all of it. And I don't think I'll ever forget those memories because those are some of the most cherished memories that I have is living in those areas and not really being able to go outside and play games with my friends or anything like that. I didn't even really have friends at that time, but being able to play that NES and play Ninja Gaiden over and over and over again, it was something that really kept me busy and really kept my mind off of things that I feel like could have easily destroyed it. And then fast forward a few years, the SNES comes out. That was also a hand me down, I believe. And one of the things I got was the Ninja Gaiden collection on NES, Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3. And once again, fell right back into it. Sure, there was A Link to the Past. I played a lot of Zelda. The Mario games on there was pretty cool, except for Mario is missing. That's super weird. And Mario's Time Machine, that was really weird. But through all of that, still I had Ninja Gaiden on the NES, which I would still go back to. Even with a Sega Genesis or a SNES or anything, whatever I had at the time, it would always go back to the NES, and I would always jump on Ninja Gaiden. Fast forward a decade or so, and I have the original Xbox, and lo and behold, Ninja Gaiden comes out on the original Xbox. That is also a core memory because that game was something truly special at the time. Sure, there was Devil May Cry at the time and things like that, but Ninja Gaiden was on just such a whole other level. And that moment, that time frame, that period of time, that's when I really started to really invest in gaming as like something I wanted to be good at. It wasn't really just an escape for me anymore. It was something I really wanted to hone in on and focus on. And Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox started all that. I remember playing through that game front to back, unlocking all the costumes. When it first came out, they had an online tournament. It was when Xbox Live was out or first came out. And you could run these levels, submit your scores, and if you did high enough, you would get this really cool costume. Fortunately, I didn't have internet at the time, so I couldn't do that, but I still played that game front to back. And I loved every minute of it. Going back, collecting all 50 scarabs, playing it on every difficulty, and just being able to feel proud about accomplishing something in that game, right? It's crazy. Then Ninja Gaiden Black comes out, which was an even harder version of the game because they ended up patching a lot of the exploits people were using to beat the game. And once again, another core memory. I remember one summer playing through that game. I finally made it to Master Ninja. And the way I did it is I would save, complete the level, and then create a whole different save for that level. That way, if I had to go back, I could just load the previous save and whatever, right? Well, I make it to Master Ninja, and I'm at the boss before the last boss, the big walking skeleton. And you have to fight him. climb up the mountain and fight the last boss. I don't want to spoil the last boss, even though it's been decades, but I don't want to spoil it. So I finally beat that guy and I used all my items to beat him. And I remember saving over my save. And the previous save before that was like 3 or 4 hours or something. It was way behind. So here I was facing the last boss of the hardest version of one of the hardest games ever to be conceived. And I have no potions. I have no items. I have my fully upgraded dragon sword and 3 Nimpo and a full bar of health. It took me 6 complete months, 6 entire months to just beat that one boss, to learn pattern recognition, to learn spacing and timing, things like that. A lot of skills that I still use in like fighting games, really. But I was determined to beat that game. I was determined to beat that boss, and it was a whole last summer plus a few months into the school year before I finally beat that game. And I honestly, outside of fighting games, it was the only time I ever jumped up and was really excited about playing, like beating a game. Like I was over the moon. I jumped up, I flipped off the TV, started DX cross chopping it, right? Because that's what that was in at the time, I think. If not, I still DX cross chop anyways. But it was just such a dopamine enriched moment that will also live as a core memory. I've played Ninja Gaiden so much that on the OG Xbox version, I can beat the first level with one hand, with one controller, just because I know so much about how the layout goes and everything like that. I don't think there would ever be a Ray the Wizard or even a Raven, which is my real name, as he is now without what Ninja Gaiden did for me. Because there was the anime, obviously there was the ninjas. I remember in high school, or not high school, in elementary school, going to the library and checking out books about being a ninja because of Ninja Gaiden. Right, the huge portion of my personality was developed while playing those kinds of games. Those memories, those games, all of it, it's all timeless. It will never go away. For as long as I live, for as long as you live, for as long as the internet lives, for as long as humanity lives, we will always remember Tomonobu Itagaki. Sorry if I messed that up. But that was the creator of the original Ninja Gaiden. That was the creator of the Ninja Gaiden here. I strongly suggest anybody to really look into him because he really was a rock star. And I don't say that lightly. I hate that term because I play guitar, right? I hate that. I feel like 99% of people out there, I want to say 95, let's be generous. I feel like 95% of people out there have no idea what it means to be a rock star. They think they do. They see it on TV and they replicate the clothes, the makeup, the attitude, but they don't understand the life of a rock star. Tomonobu did. He was unrelenting. He had a passion and he followed it all the way through. He gave no excuses. He did what he wanted to do and he carved his legacy on this earth. And I can't thank him enough. I mean, even today, I still got the OG Ninja Gaiden on NES, my original copy of Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox, and my original copy of Ninja Gaiden Black on the Xbox. Tomonobu's hands have even reached as far as this stream and this channel. My very first YouTube video that I ever really produced and was really cutting my teeth on was my video on Ninja Gaiden. I wanted to share that with the world. I still want to share my love for this franchise with the world, and any chance I get, I'm going to. What Tomonobu created was something that molded my life, changed my life. And I don't say that lightly. This isn't, I'm not glazing him or anything like that. There are clear memories of that game really keeping me straight, keeping me out of trouble. Times that I would have spent doing other things, I invested in Ninja Gaiden specifically. And I can't thank you enough for that. I really can't. And sure, your physical body may be gone, but your memories, your games, your legacy. It will always live, no matter what. I have no doubt in my mind that Ninja Gaiden will be as mainstay and as much of video game culture as Mario, Zelda, Halo, Call of Duty, even more so than those other games, right? I'm talking like at the very, very peak of gaming sits Ninja Gaiden, sits Ryu Hayabusa, and that's never going to change. So thank you. I wish I could have said this earlier, and I wish there was the chance, at least, however small it may have been, for you to have seen me say this because I've been thinking about that. That's been a thought in the back of my head for a long time is maybe one day running into finding a way of getting us face to face so I could gush. So I could personally shake your hand and tell you thank you. And while I can't do that anymore, I will always, always be grateful. So thank you again. Rest in peace.